Hello there, I'm Caitlin, and I just moved into a new house. This is our living room. And it's it's looking quite white, but the linen couch doesn't help. And you know what? Toby's thrilled because I decided I'm going to paint a new mural in here, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So first I went to Home Depot and got all the supplies you're seeing, well minus drop cloths, I already had them. I got green, lavender, and white. If you want to know the specific color names, it was Succulent Leaves, Arcade White, Lavender Memory, all by Behr, and eggshell. Why am I saying that with such a weird accent? Okay, whatever. I chose those three paint colors because a monochromatic landscape mural is in our feature. Not sure if you've seen them, but I've been seeing these watercolor style landscape murals like this photo from Pinterest and like all of my favorite fancy houses, and I'm obsessed. So naturally I'm going to paint our favorite landscape photo in that style for our living room. Meaning my sister and I, we are roommates. Yeah, so anyways, Crested Butte is both of our favorite scenic places in Colorado. I mean, look at this photo. It looks like Disney designed it. And okay, the lavender will be explained shortly. As you can see, I'm prepping the area by taping up all the baseboards. Didn't need to tape the ceiling, not painting that high, but didn't know that in the moment. I also removed the outlet covers because that's a whole ordeal to carefully avoid. And that's all you need to do before you start actually painting. Well, pre-mixing your colors helps a ton, which is what I'm about to do. I know I'm going to be using a ton of light green to put detail on top of, so that's why I got these little buckets. I know these cans of paint have ways to pour directly out of the lid, but I didn't have patience nor strength to punch them out. They being the little weird twisty thing in the smaller circle of C on the top of the lid. Okay, I am caring far too much about being clean at this point, but doesn't really matter. So anyways, to make the light green, clearly I added in about, I think it was like a fourth of the way of the white paint into the bucket. And with obviously this green is a strong color, so a little goes a long way. So that's why I'm adding just like little dabs here and there, and it's a lot easier to start off small and then gradually add color till you get the right hue. Yep, okay. You know what? I'm glad I just went with it. I think I'm just using like these stirring sticks that I saw in the paint aisle and at Home Depot. I don't even know what they're called. I'm just gonna call them stirring sticks, but yeah, they're very, very helpful, and I've used like pretty much all of them to stir or add color like so. So at this point, it's happening. I'm going to make the first mark on the wall, guys. It's crazy. And again, this is the main photo I'm gonna be working off of, and to be honest, I just kind of eyeballed it. I knew I didn't want it to go all the way up to the top of the ceiling. I wanted it to kind of cut across because this is kind of like a cozy area. Just want cozy mountains all the way around. And yeah, so I'm just using the light green that you saw me mix and just going for it. Basically, I'm freehand sketching the major shapes in now, focusing on the first mountain range I see, which is in the distance, in the middle there. Looking at the style inspo, things in the distance don't have a lot of detail or strong color, which is why I'm adding them in with the light green I mixed, along with straight white to get some texture in, kind of working wet into wet. I also want to keep the outline of these mountains fuzzy. Definition brings things forward to the viewer, and we want these to stay in the background. This kind of paint takes a second to dry, which makes it easier to blend out the lines, almost scrubbing them out using the brush. Working this large, it's important to step back often to see where the painting is going and how detail is going to look from, the viewer's perspective. So next I added a bit of the straight green and white to beautiful tinfoil cups. Oh, they're touch scruffy, but hey, they were functional. I used the mixed light green, and I would add a touch of either the green or the white to get more details and form going on the mural as I'm working down from the mountain range. These trees are looking so promising, aren't they? Very watercolor-esque. Halfway through, I was like, I should prioritize the other plant I have for this room. And this is why I bought lavender paint. As you can see, there's a section of the wall that just juts out a bit. This area felt like it should be separate from the mountain mural, and I like the idea of vertical stripes making a space feel a bit taller. I found this style of hand-painted stripes on Pinterest, done by Rebecca Atwood, and the perfectly imperfect vibe was what I was looking for. And these end up taking 2 days to do. And yeah, I just went for it using this brush. Well, actually, I think I switched it to a different brush. You'll see. I need to look up to see what specific size they are. Hold on. It was a large size 6 flat brush by Fuumuuii. And okay, Toby was a consistently disappointed supervisor. So I also use a smaller angle brush to clean up the edges with white paint. And not sure I mentioned, but I didn't prep any of the surfaces before I started painting because it was already pre-painted white when I moved in. So, you know, great conditions for me. But sometimes, you know, you do need to like really pay attention to what surface you're painting on and how you make it like the best surface to paint on top of. Anywho, the stripes came out great. I love them, and I think they will make the couch stand out well. So now onto detailing the first wall we started on. I'm using a medium small size filbert brush to get some texture in and to render the scene. Really just channeling my inner Bob Ross here. I didn't want to get too detailed at the top, so this area went by pretty quickly. The columbine flowers at the bottom were harder to do for sure, and I couldn't figure out what exact style I wanted to paint the closest things in. I did introduce a deeper green here using acrylics. I mixed this color using phthalo blue and yellow. I mixed in with the green wall paint too. See this 3D style at the bottom? Actually, I don't even know if I did that yet. Oh no, I'm just rocking out. I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't introduced the acrylic paint yet, but I'm about to. So see this 3D style here, where I was blending out the shading, it just felt incorrect. The top style was more illustrative and just, you know, was a better match overall. Also, Oliver finally made an appearance. I think he was approving. Luckily, there was only one paint incident where I pet Toby with paint on my hands. It came out easily enough with water. No one tracked paint around, which is amazing. I was nervous. So the rest of the mural, I based it off of photos I took in Crested, Butte while we were camping at the Oh Be Joyful campsite. Literally the prettiest hikes all around there. Extra crazy because we had to book the campsite like 6 months in advance using the world clock method to beat out the competition. Camping is no joke here in Colorado. So yeah, most of these flowers were these like purple daisies I saw. There are also like these bluebell flowers. Toby needs a groom. And yeah, so I would just kind of start out painting a white shape that resembled the flowers, and then I would outline and refine the shape using the acrylic paint like so. And oh my gosh, Oliver is so cute right now. You can't see him. Maybe I'm gonna take a photo so you guys can see. You're welcome. Of course, there were plenty of other creatures and things we saw, including butterflies, so I painted in some of the ones I was able to take photos of, added cute movement around the walls for sure. I approached them the same as the flowers. I made a white paint base, then used acrylics to draw them in. We also had weird experiences with hummingbirds there. It was strangely terrifying how close they got to us because you couldn't tell what they were at first. I don't handle large bugs well, and I'm sure most would agree, but then we saw that they are simply adorable little birds just visiting. So overall, they deserve a spot in this mural. I did a sketch and Procreate first to see where best to place them. There's a lower part to the ceiling in this living room that needed a small moment added to it. I felt like the hummingbirds would be the best way to add movement and actually finish the mural. I stood on the couch to paint this area, just put down all the drop cloths just in case paint fell. Okay, I would have included the paint tape reveals, but they were so unsatisfying. I think I'll need to do some like research on how to do it better next time. I solely used painter's tape, but the tape lifted up the paint in some areas and it was hard to get off in other areas. I actually had to use tweezers. So the last thing I did was touch up the spots where the paint was taken off, which is easy to do when it's a simple color scheme like this. See? Easily done. But man, seeing how the bottom edge came out, so sad. Maybe I needed to tear it in a different way, or I really don't know. If anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. And here's how it turned out. What do you think? Also, I want to swap out the outlet covers with cute golden frames, and I like to swap out the main ceiling light too, but you know, future issues. Should I leave the counter white where the lamps sit? What do you think? Anyways, I hope this was fun to watch, and I hope you all have a lovely day and happy painting.